Hi and welcome back to another episode of Scientific Talk. For centuries, people who have survived life-threatening events have reported extraordinary experiences floating outside their bodies, seeing bright lights, meeting deceased loved ones, or having their lives flash before their eyes. These events, known as near-death experiences or NDEs, have fascinated scientists and philosophers alike. But what actually happens to the brain during these moments? Is it simply a hallucination caused by a dying brain, or evidence of something deeper? In recent years, scientific studies have provided fascinating insights into the neurological mechanisms behind near-death experiences. From final bursts of brain activity to altered time perception, research suggests that the dying brain undergoes complex processes that may explain these mystical experiences. But beyond neuroscience, philosophers, religious scholars, and even physicists have weighed in on the question: do near-death experiences provide evidence that consciousness exists beyond the physical brain? One of the most intriguing findings in near-death research is that the brain does not shut down immediately when the heart stops. Instead, there is a final burst of activity. In 2022, researchers in Canada observed the brain activity of a dying patient and found that the brain continued to show organized activity even after the heart had stopped beating. These results suggest that the brain may remain active for longer than we previously thought, which could explain why people report vivid, near-death experiences. But does this final brain surge fully explain near-death experiences, or is there more to the story? A common feature of near-death experiences is the life review phenomenon, where people claim to relive important moments from their past in extreme detail. Scientists have found some evidence that the brain may indeed replay memories just before death. A 2022 study from Hadassah University in Israel analyzed the brain activity of a dying patient and discovered that in the final moments there was activity in brain regions associated with memory retrieval, particularly the medial temporal lobes, which store autobiographical memories. This suggests that the brain may rapidly process key life events as it shuts down, explaining why people report vivid flashbacks during near-death experiences. The findings support the idea that a biological mechanism, rather than a supernatural event, might underlie the life review phenomenon. One of the strangest aspects of near-death experiences is how people describe time slowing down or experiencing reality outside of normal time constraints. A 2017 study from the University of Liège in Belgium examined the statements of near-death experience survivors and compared them to brain imaging studies. The researchers found that altered time perception is linked to reduced activity in the default mode network, a part of the brain responsible for self-awareness and time processing. This suggests that in extreme conditions, such as near death, the brain alters its perception of time, making experiences feel much longer than they actually are. This could explain why some people feel as though a near-death experience lasts forever, even though it happens in just a few seconds. Some scientists believe that near-death experiences might be a type of hallucination caused by REM intrusion, a state where the brain enters a dreamlike condition while awake. A 2006 study from the University of Kentucky proposed that during moments of extreme trauma, the brain could slip into REM, or rapid eye movement, sleep patterns while still conscious. This would explain common NDE features, such as out-of-body sensations, paralysis or floating sensations, and vivid, dreamlike visions. If this theory is correct, then NDEs might be the brain's way of coping with extreme stress and oxygen deprivation, similar to how dreams help process emotions and memories. The question of whether consciousness is purely a product of the brain or something more has been debated for centuries. The two dominant views are: one, materialism, which states that consciousness is entirely produced by brain activity, and when the brain dies, consciousness ceases to exist; and two, dualism, which posits that the mind and brain are separate entities, meaning consciousness could continue even after brain activity stops. Philosophers like René Descartes argued for dualism, believing that the mind, or soul, was distinct from the body. On the other hand, modern neuroscience supports materialism, suggesting that consciousness is a product of brain processes. However, some researchers, including Dr. Sam Parnia, argue that NDEs challenge the materialist view. If consciousness were solely dependent on the brain, how do some NDE patients recall specific events that happened while they were clinically dead? In the AWARE study, some cardiac arrest patients accurately describe details of their resuscitation process, even though their brains showed no measurable activity. This debate leads to deeper questions. If consciousness can exist independently of the brain, does this mean there is life after death? Or are these experiences just illusions created by the dying brain? Across different cultures and religions, near-death experiences take remarkably similar forms, but there are also unique cultural variations that suggest our beliefs shape our experiences. Many Western accounts involve meeting angels, Jesus, or deceased relatives. Buddhist near-death experiences often describe a transition into the bardo, an intermediate state between life and rebirth. Some atheists report feeling a sense of peace, or merging with the universe, rather than seeing religious figures. A 2017 study from the University of Virginia analyzed over 1,000 near-death accounts and found that while core features of NDEs, such as the sensation of leaving the body or seeing a bright light, were universal, the specific figures and surroundings people saw were often influenced by their cultural background. This raises an important question. Are NDEs evidence of an afterlife, or are they simply shaped by our beliefs and expectations? If people from different cultures experience different visions, does that mean NDEs are brain-generated hallucinations, or could they be glimpses into something beyond our current understanding? Some thinkers believe that near-death experiences could be linked to something even more bizarre: simulation theory. Nick Bostrom, a philosopher at Oxford University, proposed the idea that our reality might be a computer simulation created by an advanced civilization. If this were true, then near-death experiences could be glitches in the system or a transition into another level of reality when our program ends. Interestingly, many near-death experiences describe leaving their bodies, seeing a different dimension, or feeling like they accessed a deeper reality. Some even report meeting beings of light that communicate telepathically, a concept that aligns with ideas in simulation theory, that our reality may be a constructed and digital experience. While this idea is speculative, it raises fascinating questions about the nature of consciousness and whether NDEs could be a transition between different states of existence rather than just hallucinations of a dying brain. Some scientists believe that quantum physics may hold the key to understanding consciousness and NDEs. Physicist Sir Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff suggest that consciousness originates from quantum processes inside microtubules in brain cells. If true, then consciousness might not be limited to the brain. It could exist in a quantum field beyond the body, meaning it could survive after death. Some NDE experiences describe feeling like they merge with the universe or entering a state of pure awareness, ideas that are strangely similar to descriptions of quantum entanglement. Dr. Hameroff believes that when the brain dies, the quantum information that makes up consciousness might return to the universe, suggesting that NDEs could be real transitions into another form of existence rather than just brain activity. Scientific research has provided fascinating insights into the neurological basis of near-death experiences, but many questions remain. While studies suggest that NDEs could be caused by a surge of brain activity, altered time perception, and memory recall, they do not fully explain why people report profound, life-changing experiences. Some scientists, like Dr. Sam Parnia, argue that consciousness may persist even when the brain appears inactive, challenging our understanding of death itself. Others believe that NDEs are simply the result of a brain shutting down, creating powerful but ultimately natural hallucinations. Are NDEs simply hallucinations, or do they suggest that consciousness exists beyond the brain? Do they confirm religious ideas of an afterlife, or are they evidence that we live in a simulated reality? Could quantum physics help explain what happens after death? As technology improves, future research may finally answer the ultimate question. Do near-death experiences reveal something beyond life, or are they just the last trick of a dying brain? What do you think? Are NDEs a glimpse into something greater, or just the brain's final illusion? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. See you in the next one.